Hello and welcome back to my studio. This is Dr. Bunce here for another music tutorial. This time we're going to be looking at pentatonic improvisation. Now that sounds very complicated, but in fact it's something quite straightforward. So let's have a look at those two words, pentatonic and improvisation. The first one, pentatonic, you might recognize the start of that word. Pent, of course, is the start of the word pentagon, which is a five-sided shape. And in music, pentatonic means 5 notes. So sometimes we combine that with the word scale, pentatonic scale, scale meaning a series of notes. So pentatonic scale will be a series of 5 notes. Improvisation, another complicated word or sounding word, but in fact it just means to make something up on the spot. So we're going to be looking at making up music on the spot, improvising in other words, using the pentatonic scale, a 5-note scale. So let's have a look at our keyboard. You'll find the easiest way to do this is actually to use the black notes, because the black notes in their patterns of 3 and 2 before they repeat form a pentatonic scale. Let's have a look in the green. So I'm going to play the 2 black notes in the green and then the 3 black notes. You'll then notice in the red we have 2 black notes and 3 black notes making 5 again, and in the brown, if you have that on your keyboard at home, 2, 1, 2, 3. So those 5 notes together form what's called the pentatonic scale, and they're the notes that we're going to be using today. So improvising, making up a tune on the spot. We first of all need to know kind of some rules about how to make good sounding tunes. Now in year 6 they learn about how to make blues songs, and they learn how to improvise using what's called the blues scale, another series of notes. So they already know some of the rules, but I'll go through them here anyway. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to try to make up a tune, but I'm going to do it not following the rules, and we're going to try to work out what the rules are as we go along. So I'm going to make up a bad sounding tune. Let's see what this sounds like and why it doesn't sound good. See whether you can detect why this doesn't work. So here you go, here's my tune. Right, I'm sure you guessed it straight away. I was playing more than 1 note at a time. Tunes tend not to have more than 1 note at a time because historically they mimic the human voice, and of course we can't sing more than 1 note at a time. So generally speaking, tunes only have 1 note at a time. So let's try that again using 1 note at a time. Here's my new tune. Still doesn't sound very good, so what's going wrong now? Well, the answer is I'm spacing the notes too widely. I was using notes here, then I was following it with a note up here, then a note here, so I'm spacing the notes way too widely. Tunes tend to be built on next door patterns, so notes that are next to each other within the scale. Remember, scale being the series of notes that we are using for our improvisation. So in the case of the pentatonic scale, these 2 notes are next to each other, and these 2 notes are next to each other. So the C sharp and the D sharp are next to the F sharp, the G sharp and the A sharp. Now you may be thinking, well, how can these 2 notes be together when there are notes in between? Well, it's because we're thinking in terms of the original scale, the pentatonic scale. So within the pentatonic scale, those 2 notes are actually regarded as being together, as would those 2 notes as well. So let's go through and name them. C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. And I'm going to be improvising using just probably the green and the red. So this time I'm going to improvise a tune using next door notes. Let's see whether that sounds any better. It's beginning to sound better, and I might want to include the odd jump, but not jump, 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 jump. I'll try to keep it as next door as I can. So let's see what that sounds like. Jump. Jump. It's sounding better, it's sounding more musical, but it still doesn't sound like a finished tune. So what could I do to improve this? The answer is maybe include some repetition. So that could be repetition of individual notes. Let's try that first. That's beginning to sound more like a tune now. Now we've got one final detail to add, and that's going to be a better or more varied rhythm. At the moment, each note is the same length. Now, year 2 upwards, you know about the word rhythm because we study rhythm using the long and the short sounds and the idea of combining those to make rhythms up. So rhythm, remember, is that long and short sounds put together. So let's try to add some of that in. I'm going to add some faster notes and some longer notes. So let's see what happens now. I've got the repetition. I'm going to have the next door patterns and the fast and slow. Let's see what it sounds like now. There was a jump. It's beginning to sound pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. Right. So the next stage is we're going to have an accompaniment in the background. So I'm going to just change the screen over here and change it to the Pentatonic Improvisation that I've already pre-recorded. Now I've recorded this so you can see what the accompaniment is doing. You'll see it down on the left hand side of the screen in the purple and the blue. So let's watch this first. Here it goes. Here it comes. So here's the introduction. And we would start improvising now. It's quite a bouncy accompaniment, isn't it? Excellent. So that's the accompaniment that we're going to use for the basis of our improvisation. I'll play that in the background and I'm going to make my little tune up over the top. Let's see what this sounds like. So I'm going to follow those rules that I've taught you so far, those rules. Next door notes within the scale, using repetition, and also trying to make the rhythm interesting. So let's try those things together. Here it goes. I'll let the introduction run first. Again, pretty pleased with that. So what I did is, as I got through the piece, as I was improvising, there was an idea that I kind of liked. This idea that went like this. If I just go back to the keyboard so you can see it, it's this idea. I quite like this idea. So I repeated it a couple of times. So as well as repeating individual notes, you can repeat little themes or tunes as they come up that you like. If you happen to like something, repeat it. Let your audience hear it again. So to finish off, what I'm going to do is put the recording on one more time so you have something to improvise against at home. Now don't forget, there are the other videos that are on the channel here for you to be able to find an online piano if you haven't got a keyboard at home, so you'll still be able to do this. So here goes. For the final time, this is going to be the recording of the accompaniment for you to improvise against yourself. Brilliant. Well, that's the end of the tutorial today. Remember, you can always rewind the video and play that again. And I hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, take care and see you very soon.